Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
And Marianne behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food. And you know what we're doing today, Toots?
I have no idea.
Pierogi. So, pierogi, no S if you please. Okay? A lot of people say pierogies. We're making pierogies. And it's okay to say that. It's a very American way of doing it. But pierogi is plural. So pierogis is double plural.
Isn't it pierog?
Pierog, if it's just one, is a single.
I remember Dad saying that.
Yes. So we're making pierogi, which means we're making more than one of these little things. And, you know, like anything else, there's a million ways to make them. Well, maybe not a million, but a lot. There's a lot of different recipes out there for the dough, for the fillings. Today we are just going to make a potato cheese pierogi. Pierog. But it's probably the most popular one. I think most people, especially if you go to a Polish restaurant, people like the potato pierogi. And so we're going to just do that one. However, you could certainly fill these with a lot of other things, right, Mare?
Right.
What's your favorite?
Sweet farmer's cheese.
Sweet farmer's cheese. And farmer's cheese is sometimes hard to find, but it's sort of a crumbly, harder cheese, kind of like a dry cottage cheese almost, but it's mixed with egg and sugar, and it's on the sweet side, and that's a delicious filling. I like sauerkraut inside sometimes pierogi.
You like mushroom?
I love the mushroom-filled pierogi. So it's also a good way to use up things that you might have on hand. Maybe you got sauerkraut left over. Maybe you got, like we got, some mashed potatoes. You can put anything you want in pierogi. I've even seen it now with all kinds of hot, spicy, not traditional Polish fillings, but, you know, it's basically a pasta dough that's filled.
And sometimes you see fruit.
Yes, like blueberry or prune, which I love. So anyways, we'll get started, and we will get started with making the dough. So what I've got here is 2 cups of just regular all-purpose flour, all right? To that, Mare, I'm going to add, over here, I've got an egg, and have all your ingredients at room temperature, okay? So your egg, I've got a 1/2 cup of milk. Okay, we're going to put that in there, also at room temperature. I have got, let me heat that up a little bit real fast, a 1/4 cup of sour cream. So that is going to provide a little bit of needed fat for the dough and also a richness, okay? So most recipes call for, you know, the egg, a liquid, milk or water, sometimes oil, some kind of fat. But to that, I'm also going to add here, just warming it up a smidge, I've got a tablespoon of melted butter, Mare. And we're going to put that in there. Okay. So, we're going to make our dough with all of this. I'm just going to mix it. I've got a pot here, Mare, that of water, and so we're going to get that going because that is how we're going to cook the pierogi. You know, you were talking about Dad and how he was, I'm sure he corrected somebody who said pierogies and gave him a little lesson on how it's said. But you know how Dad liked his pierogi. When we would go to the restaurant, he would often ask for it just boiled with sauteed onions on the top. He didn't like them pan-fried because Dad was of the opinion that when you pan-fry the pierogi, what happens is sometimes the dough gets tough, you know, from the frying. So he didn't like that. But to each his own. We like them pan-fried. I like them anyway. But you like them fried in the pan, don't you, Mary?
Yes, I do.
All right, I'm going to use our vintage Tupperware Jiffy Sift to put a little flour on my board here. And then we're going to turn out our dough. And this is something you have to kind of gauge. If it's on the sticky side a little bit, just, you know, put a little bit more flour in it. We don't want to knead this dough too much because the more you knead it, it toughens it. I'm going to add a little bit more flour to it. Also makes it easier to work with. And we used to make these at church by the literally hundreds of dozens for the festival. Okay, that's pretty good, I would say. You kind of get a feel when you're kneading it of when it's sort of where it needs to be. It should start to come together and get smooth and less sticky. And you probably want to keep flouring your board here in your hands. All right, I'm going to give this dough a minute to rest, and that'll give me a chance to clean up a little bit, and then we'll be back. We are making pierogi on today's Cavalcade of Food. All right, honey, we're going to roll this out. So someone gave me this stainless steel rolling pin. I've had it for a while. Not used it that much. Let's see how it does here. We're going to roll this pierogi dough out to a thickness of about somewhere around a 1/4 inch, maybe a smidge thicker than that. And it's sort of elasticy, so it does have a stretch to it. All right. Got it rolled out. Now we're going to cut it. So there's a couple different things actually there's a lot of different things you can use to cut pierogi. You want something round, so that's easy. So this is a 3-inch biscuit cutter, very straightforward, okay? Now remember, once you cut it, you're going to fold it in half, right?
Right.
So it's going to be half this big. So that kind of gives you an idea of how big you want to make it. You don't want to make it too big. Here's something a little bit larger. This is more of a, I guess, a 4-inch or almost a 5-inch. You know what this is, honey?
A biscuit cutter?
This is an egg ring.
Okay.
You put this in the pan and you crack your egg in here and it keeps it perfectly round. Like if you were making an Eggs Benedict or something like that, it was going to go on a muffin.
Yeah.
That's what this is. But it also makes a good pierogi cutter. At the church, we used to use old tuna fish cans because they were just the right size, okay? And we would cut with that. So you can use whatever. For our Polish friends who are watching, you might have something that you like to use. All right. And if you do, share. All right, so I'm going to start cutting out these. I'm giving it a little dip in the flour, Mare, before each cut, just to keep everything kind of easy and not stick. This is, as pierogies go, this is a fairly small recipe. So feel free to double it or more. All right, I'm going to take our excess dough here, and we will get a piece of parchment paper, and we'll there we go. I had my old trusty wooden one on standby. We'll get these out. And so I'm going to roll this dough out here and cut out a few more. And then we'll come back and do the filling. Okay, honey, I've got some mashed potatoes here, okay? I don't know, maybe a cup and a half or so. And I got a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese. Now, I went ahead and warmed up the mashed potatoes in the microwave because I want the cheese to melt in, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to put in a little P, pepper that is, and a little S, salt. Okay? Then, what did I do with my spatula? I probably threw it in the sink. Okay, well, we use this one. Now, I'm going to make this doesn't have to be piping hot, just hot enough to kind of melt the cheese in a little bit because it's going to cook with the pierogi. There we go. See that? Can you get? That's what we should be looking like here. Okay? So that's our filling. All right. So now let me get a little spoon. And we're going to take one of our circles here. And I actually stretch it out a little bit. Okay? And then we're going to take some of our filling, put it there. Then I got a little dish of water, Mare, and I put a little water around the edge, and then we pinch. I'm going to give you such a pinch, girl. Okay? So you'll have to judge your the amount of filling you put in, because if it's too much, it'll come out on the side. Okay? So it'll just help you gauge. There. Okay? Let's try it again. Okay. Give yourself a little extra room. Again, I like to stretch them out a little bit. Then putting in, a good teaspoon. We wet our edges here a little bit. And then you pull that dough. The dough is elastic, so pull it and pinch. Pull, pinch. Pull, pinch. You really want to close that up because when you drop it in the pot, you don't want water getting in there, okay? We want a good, tight seal. One more. Again, this is why we rolled it about a 1/4 inch thick, Mare, so that we would have enough dough to stretch it out like this a little bit. So I'm probably stretching it out maybe another, 1/2 inch or so. Again, filling goes in. We moisten our edge. Some people use a beaten egg for this around the edge, Mare, but I'm just using water. It's enough to get that dough sticky. Okay. And then we're going to pull that dough out, and as we pull, we pinch. Just something fun about saying pinch. Okay? I like pinching. Did I ever pinch you when we were kids? I don't remember. If I did, sorry.
I don't remember either.
You know how brothers can be. All right. Here we go. All right. So this is what we got, and I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then when I'm ready, we'll come back and we'll get them cooking. Well, you know what time it is, Mare?
Boiling time?
It is boiling time. We're going to get a nice pierogi facial. How's that? So I've got the water boiling here, and I don't want it at too vigorous a boil, but we definitely want it at a boil here. And I'm going to start dropping these in slowly. We got 17, Mare, pierogi out of this recipe. And I had just enough filling. So you don't want to crowd the pan. We're going to do this in batches. I'll kind of do half and half here. 2, 4, 6, 7. I'll put 8 in here. And I meant to put a little salt in the water. So just to season the water, just like when you're making pasta, right? You always want the water to be seasoned because the dough should taste good, okay? And we want the fillings to taste good, but the dough should taste good. So now, as these cook, you know what they're going to do, honey?
Rise to the top.
Rise to the top, as we all should. So once these float up to the top, then we're going to let them cook another, maybe 4 minutes or so, okay, before taking them out of the water. And I'm actually going to get a rack ready because we want to dry these off before our next cooking step. So we'll come back when they start to float up. So look what came up to visit us, honey. Our pierogi. So we're just letting these cook a couple more minutes, and then I'll do the second half. So what I've got here, honey, is just a cooling rack. I put some paper towel underneath, and we will transfer these here. Now, because depending on how you're serving them, I'm gonna start taking these out here. If you're going to serve them just like this, they're cooked, and then you want them, a little dried off. If you're going to cook them, pan fry them, like we will probably do, then you also want them dry because we're going to cook them in butter, right?
Right.
And we don't want them wet going into the butter because that's when you get a big splashy kind of a mess. So just use a strainer of some sort and get the pierogi out of the water. Now, if you didn't want them, these are, I would say, good size, wouldn't you, Mare?
Yeah.
But I would say if you want them not as big, then use a smaller cutter. Again, I used a 3-inch. You could use a 2-inch. Put this other batch here. And okay. So, Mare, I'm going to grab this right here. My favorite electric appliance. We will grab this good old Sunbeam here. I will get it plugged in, and we will get it ready, and we're going to start frying our pierogi. Oh, girl, did these ever smell good? If I can get this one flipped. So I'm going to get a platter, Mare. Again, this is an optional step. And I'm going to move these up a little bit. And I'm going to actually, just to warm these up, let's just put those onions right there. Huh? Okay. So, let's take a look. Beautiful. Nice. All right, we're going to let it go another minute, and then we're going to take these out. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. Now, we have our sauteed onions and butter, and we'll spread those around. What do we think of this, Mare?
Looks good.
Looks good enough to eat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to get a little sour cream, and we will do the tasting next. Well, here we are, honey. I think there's only one thing to do here. Zoom in a little bit, honey, and I want our food friends to be able to see the inside of this pierog. Beautiful potato filling. You can see little specks of the yellow cheese. And of course, we got to have the sour cream. Yum. So good. And, you know, cooking these in, frying these in a little butter certainly doesn't hurt any, does it?
No.
Oh my gosh. Mayor, these are, I mean, they're always good, but these are especially good. You know why? Because we made them with our food friends. And things are always good when you spend time in the kitchen with great people. And so we are glad. I could eat this whole plate, I'm telling you. But I will share it with my sister. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to, now that these are cooked, you could keep them on a single layer, like on a sheet pan, on parchment paper. Put them in the freezer. Once they're frozen, you can put them in a baggie, like a Ziploc freezer bag. Don't put them in a bag now because they will stick together. And when you go to thaw them out, they're going to be one big clump of pierogi. You don't want that. Let them freeze flat individually first in the freezer. Put them in a bag. Then all you got to do is thaw them out and freshen them up. Cook them off in your skillet with your butter. Oh, those onions. I don't know. You don't know what you're missing, Toots. Anyways, let's get some business out of the way. The recipe is down below the description, Mare, where it always is, right?
Right.
What else we got to tell them?
Cavalcadeoffood.com.
Cavalcadeoffood.com is the website. And let me thank my little sister for helping out with the camera work today.
You're welcome.
And you will be rewarded for your efforts, my dear. And we'll thank our food friends. Smacznego. Enjoy. If you have a pierogi tradition in your family, because Marianne, we have a lot of folks of Polish heritage who watch the channel, share it in the comments. We love to read that stuff. And everyone stay well, and until next time, keep cooking. And we'll see you again right back here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Bye.